Welcome to Cosmic Conversations, the podcast where spirituality meets real life. I'm Siobhan, your host, aka the Cosmic Coach, and this is a space where we are going to explore the layers of what make us truly who we are. There's going to be a series of solo episodes along with some incredible guests, a space where we can truly discuss the universe within us all. So for today, we are deep diving into a topic that I am very passionate about and very much aligns with me. We are going to talk about angels, angel signs, how do you know if they're near, how are they connecting with you, and what are angels? Anyone who knows me or has followed on my journey so far will know that I am very close with the angels. I have developed such an incredible relationship with them over the last 2 years, but they've been something that have always been around in my life, and that's something that I will share with you in this episode. But if you want to listen to all stuff angels, what are they, who are they, and where are they, then please keep listening. So maybe one of the first things that you think about when you think of angels, I know for me anyways, even when I was a kid, I think angels, and I would just imagine like an angel with big wings, a pretty face outstretched, and just floating around the sky and all around the world. And for whatever reason, I can't see them. And now, as my, connection with them has developed, my experience with them, my relationship with them has developed, I know that it's going to sound really tricky to explain this, but it's not just black and white. It's not just how they don't just look a certain way, they don't feel a certain way. And for me, everybody has a different connection to angels. Some people maybe can see angels, some people can feel them, some people can hear them. Everyone has a unique connection to the angels. And we will get into how to connect with them a little bit more. But first of all, I wanted to kind of talk to you about what angels are. So angels are divine beings. They were never human. They live in a realm that is closer to source or God. I know everybody has different beliefs, but they are essentially on a higher frequency and vibration than we are. So if you think about, we have our 2D, which is like basic life, plants, objects. We have our 3D, which is, our human experience. We have the 4D, which is, the emotional, energetic, and spiritual realms. And then in the 5th dimension, the 5D, you have angels, archangels. And so in this realm where angels exist, they are pure and unconditional divine love. They are incredible. They are messengers. Angels' role, or what they are kind of here to help us with, is to help humanity, to help us grow and to help us raise the vibration of the planet, and I believe to help us feel and express love, to be honest, because anyone who has worked with or connected with angels, you'll know they always come with this pure love. That's all they are. They are just pure love. There is no fear, there is no ego when it comes to angels. And so they are there to work with us, to help us through life experiences, awakenings, things that we may be going through, lessons that we're trying to integrate, and awakening. They're there to help us every single step of the way. Of course, angels are not bound by religion. They are available to everyone, and not everyone will connect with or work with their angels because of their own beliefs, or sometimes it's down to fear, or sometimes it's just down to, beliefs. I don't align with that, or I don't believe in that, point blank, and that's okay. But whether they work with them or not, everyone has a guardian angel and everyone can work with them. And so, I suppose, in terms of everyone having an angel, we all have a guardian angel. You listening, you were born with a guardian angel that was assigned to you from the moment of conception, okay? And if you think about it, you came from source, the realm where these angels were. You were probably having great chats to them about the life that you're coming down here to live, and you're going to help me with this and blah 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 blah, or maybe I won't connect with you in this lifetime and that's just how it's going to be, but I'll see you on the flip side type of thing. But you have a guardian angel that you were assigned that is always with you and always looking out for your highest good. And so your guardian angel is very protective and never leaves your side. You can tell them, to leave or go away. Not that I think anyone would, but they won't necessarily leave you, but your guardian angel will step back. And then, of course, you have spirit guides. So spirit guides can be loved ones, family and friends that have passed on. They can also be ascended masters. So ascended masters are essentially light workers that lived a human experience and then ascended into kind of that realm of angels. And so you think of Jesus Christ is an ascended master, Kuan Yin, Lord Melchizedek, Lord Merlin. There are so many ascended masters that we can work with that have beautiful energy, and they all have their own unique skills and qualities and frequencies that they can bring to you to work with. And personally speaking, through my own Rahani experience, I got to really connect with Kuan Yin and Lord Melchizedek, and Rahani is a healing modality for anyone who doesn't know. And so at different points in my life, I've gotten to kind of get to know different spirit guides and different angels or archangels, which leads me on to archangels. And the archangels are kind of like the higher up guys. They're kind of like, I don't know, maybe you think of them as like the supervisors of the angels and spirit guides. They are high frequency divine helpers who assist humanity collectively and individually, but only when called upon. So, as I said, we have free will. The angels will not and cannot intervene with us unless we allow them to. And I have allowed them to in my life, and it has been profound, to say the least. But just to bring it back a second, I want to kind of talk about, why angels, why I'm talking about them, why I'm so connected to them. So when I think of my own experience with angels, I feel like growing up, my mom would have always talked about angels. My nannies would have always talked about angels. I think my nanny had one of those things in her car that was like a little sticker that stuck in her car. And I can remember it so clearly. And it said something like, don't fly or don't drive faster than your guardian angel can fly. And I remember always thinking like, oh, there's guardian angels with us. Like, oh, that's kind of cool. They're flying along with the car as we're driving along. And, my nanny was quite religious, and she would always say, her prayers, and one of those prayers being a guardian angel prayer. Or actually, I don't think it was a guardian angel prayer, but I just remember prayers and talk around angels. And so that was kind of like in my mind. But I was never actively like speaking to or connecting with them. It was just kind of there. And then I remember when I was like, maybe I was like 11 or 12, and my mom had this book. I don't even know if my mom actually read the book, but she had this book called Angels in My Hair by Lorna Byrne, I'm nearly sure. I will leave it in the show notes anyway. But this book was incredible. So this book was about, this woman's experience with angels from the day she was born. She's seen angels. She could communicate with them. Like, she could really, really... she was talking to these guys, and it just was her life and her experience, and the angels would come and warn her of certain things or protect her in certain scenarios. And I remember reading that book and thinking, wow. But I also remember reading that book and thinking, oh, because I think it scared part of me that there was beings around us that we couldn't see. And without giving it too much space, the law of polarity tells us you can't have the good without the bad. And so I entertained maybe thoughts that they were coming from a place of fear. And so I don't know if I pulled away from the angels as such, but it did kind of bring some more expansive thoughts in my mind of, okay, well, what else is around us? And I'll get a little bit more into that into this episode. But, I remember as a kid, my mom was always great for telling stories, and I'd have friends around. Maybe if some of you are listening, you'll remember this, but my mom would always tell us stories about angels. And one story she told us, I don't even know where she got this story from. Like, I don't know if my mom was making this up or what, but she told us this story about how this girl, was getting off the bus late at night. She's coming home from work. And it was a dark, winter's evening, and she's walking home, and it's just the street lights on, and it's a damp evening, and she's coming down through like this laneway, and she's walking down the laneway, and she sees this man standing there, and all of a sudden she feels terrified. She's like, oh my God, I have to walk down here. My house is at the other side of this lane. I'm absolutely terrified. And she just felt instinctively to call on her angels. So this woman called on her angels, said, please protect me. I'm absolutely terrified to walk past this man. I don't know what he's doing or what he's capable of, but please just be with me. So she walks past this man. He glares up at her and lets her keep walking. She gets to the end of the laneway and she gets home. And she's like, okay, thank God. So anyways, a couple of days later then, she sees on the news that a woman had been assaulted in a laneway. And I remember my mom telling me in the story, you know, she sees this, she recognizes the man, or I think maybe I'm muddling the story up. I think actually what happens is she contacts the guards or whatever and is like, maybe it's not the guards, it could be a different country. I think I might have seen this man. So she goes into the police station and there's a lineup of men and she says, yes, that's him. That's the man that I seen. She points him out. And I remember this part of the story. The woman says, can I ask him a question, please? And they're like, okay. And she asks him, I need to know, like, why didn't you do that to me? Why didn't you attack me? And he said, well, why would I? You had 3 huge men standing behind you. And she was like, what? No, I didn't. I was walking on my own. And he was like, no, there was 3 men walking behind you. And I remember this story just being like, whoa. Like it still sends a little bit of chills through me. And, you know, that helped me kind of feel the protection that can be there from the angels. And it kind of was just a little story to remind me, okay, you know, if I call on my angels, they're going to protect me. And I do feel like it's important to give space for, you know, this story, and that whether it's true or not, there obviously is someone who was a victim of this man. And that's not to say that that's because they don't call their angels, that's why that happened. I'm a firm believer that, you know, things happen to us in our life, and as awful and difficult as they can be, they're part of our story, and they're part of our lessons and our learning and part of our integration. And so that's not to say that one person is above the other because I call on their angels, and I just want to clarify that. But I think the important message to take away from this story is that you don't know the ways that the angels can protect you. And, you know, maybe that man did see 3 men walking behind her and was like, oh my God, like, I'm obviously not going to do anything here. And yeah, I just thought, like, you know, that was something nice to share. That was kind of, I remember that story so well because it was a really strong point in my journey with the angels, and it was something that I always took with me. And every single time my friends would come over, they'd be like, Mom, tell us the angel story, tell us the angel stories. So, you know, my mom had angel cards and we'd play with the angel cards and she'd tell us the stories and stuff. And so I was always very much drawn to them. And yeah, and then of course, you know, how did that develop? I suppose in 2023, that all changed again, because I need to actually rewind it back a little bit. Before 2023, I have been seeing an incredible counsellor. Her name is Marina, and Marina is not only a counsellor, she's an angelic energy healer, and she is very, very much so connected to the angels. She's an incredible healer, and I absolutely adore her. She's done so much for me, not only with counselling, but with angelic healing too. And I remember, you know, as we'd be in counselling and I'd be talking about my spirituality and just feeling connected to certain things, and, you know, she was very good at like holding space for my journey, and then also being like, I feel guided to tell you this. And it was never a case of like, I think you should go and learn about the angels, Siobhan, because I think they're really going to help you. It was always kind of like a, you know, like, this is there if you feel drawn to it. And so it was kind of a slow thing would build. I'd kind of begin to learn her relationship with the angels, and she would tell me more and I would ask her more about it. And I remember one session we had, it must have been 2022. And she was like to me, the woman that taught her all of her angel courses is called Debbie Boyle. She's incredible. I'll link her in the show notes as well if anyone wants to go to any of her courses. I really recommend it. But she told me, you know, she was going to see Debbie, and she told me, she goes, you're going to go see Debbie. And I was like, okay, like for healing or like, and she's like, no, she's like, I think you're going to go to one of Debbie's workshops. And I was like, okay. She's like, I think it's something that you will really enjoy. And I was like, okay, yeah, like I think I'd be really open to that, you know, whatever. And then that was fine. Didn't go for a long time. And then I did. I went to a workshop with Debbie in January 2023, and that's like honestly a timeline shift. I did level 1 angelic energy healing with Debbie Boyle, and I got introduced to Archangel Michael. I got introduced to the healing modality of working with the angels. And on these workshops, you're meditating with the angels. I was receiving incredible downloads. I was seeing colors. I was feeling sensations in my body. I was feeling emotions. I was so much. And I remember walking away from that workshop and being like, they're real. Like, this is real. Like, they are there. And I'll never forget, you know, like the signs, like, oh my God. And that's something that I'll want to actually get into, is the signs and how angels communicate with us. Because, you know, angels have always been there for me. And only until I did that course in 2023 did I really actually expand my horizon on how they were communicating with me. Like, if I think back before 2023, I remember like quite vividly, I would see magpies a lot. And I remember during times of, you know, hardship, relationship breakdown, honestly, just complete and utter shedding and personal reevaluation and personal growth, I was just constantly seeing magpies. I nearly forgot the name of them there. Magpies. And I remember I was like, oh my God, this is like a bad omen. Like, why do I keep seeing magpies? Like, oh yes, one for sorrow. I know my life's shit right now. Like, whatever. I kept seeing them. And it was like every single day I'd see one magpie during like certain periods of my life, and then they would go. And now looking back on that, I feel like that wasn't a bad omen. It was like you're going through a transformation right now. You have to go through the dark, the hardships, the shadow work, the pain, in order to level up and move on to a new timeline. To release old relationships, old ways of being, old habits, in order to move forward. And so I look back on that now and I'm like, I know that was a reminder from the angels. They were trying to communicate with me, and maybe I just wasn't as open to seeing the signs. But ever since I went to Debbie's course and, you know, developed my relationship with them, now I look at everything as a sign, because I believe in there is no coincidences. And, you know, angel numbers are such a huge sign for me at the moment. And I always have been. And I suppose that brings us into, you know, how angels communicate with us. So, you know, after I did that course with Debbie, I was very much aware of the angels. I would ask them for messages all the time. I'd say, you know, can you please show me a white feather? Can you show me 111? Can you show me 444? And again, as well as the magpies being a kind of a sign during hardships in my life, I was always seeing 444. And when I went to that course with Debbie Boyle, I'll actually see if I can find photos on my phone, but like everything was 444. Receipts I was getting, times that I was looking at was 444, cars going by were 444, everything was 444. Around this time of going to this course, it was like everything was aligning and the universe was like, yes, we want you to be here. And so I actually have 444 tattooed on me now, because it's just a little reminder like that they are always with me. 444 can be interpreted as, you know, divine protection and guidance, and so that's why I have it on me, because I know that I'm always protected and guided even when I didn't feel like I was. And so in terms of numbers, you know, I always get people messaging me, you know, saying like, Siobhan, like I'm seeing like angel numbers and I'm not really sure what it means. And I have a slide on the Cosmic Coach Instagram page, kind of going through the different numbers and what they mean. But to be honest, I think the important thing with angel numbers is they mean something different to everyone. So I will always say to people like, okay, well, what were you thinking about when you seen that angel number? What were you asking, or what were you feeling, or what sign have you been asking for? And listen to your gut, listen to your intuition, and know that that's the sign they're giving you. So for example, you know, if you're asking for a sign, if you're waiting for some exam result and you're really worried about it and you're waiting for a sign and you keep seeing signs, trusting that that's your reassurance, that's your sign, it's going to be okay. And you know, it could be for something else. It could be, oh, I'm going through a really hard time. I'm going through a breakup. This is really difficult. Like, I don't know what to do. Can you please show me a sign? And one thing I will say is, if you're asking for a sign, maybe be specific. So be like, can you show me a sign if this is happening for the highest good of all? You might see a number, or you might see a feather, or you might see something else that is a sign for you. One thing I will clarify is that the signs are there. And so, for example, like if you're asking for a sign, like, please give me a sign that I passed my test, and you see 11:11 on the microwave and you failed your test. And it's like, what the hell? The angels told me I passed. And it's like, I think it's important to remember that no, the angels aren't telling you that you passed. They're telling you that you're going to be okay, you're on the right path, and that everything is happening for a reason. So if you failed, what is the lesson there? What is it teaching you? And I think that's the important thing here. So trusting that if you are seeing signs and you feel like you're going through a bit of a shit show right now, or you feel like things aren't working out, but you're seeing signs and you're not really sure, you are in the right place, and they are reminding you that you are in the right place. And honestly, I feel like the signs get stronger and more prominent when we are going through something in our life that is difficult. And that's because they really want you to know you're there. And they're like, please trust us. Like, this is actually part of your path. This is actually part of your lessons. This is actually teaching you something. Please, please, please. You're going to get through this. Please trust us. We're here. So yeah, I think that's something important to note as well, is that the signs can get more prominent when we feel like we're going through something massive in our life. And that is because they want you to know that they're there. They want you to know that you're going to be okay. And you are going to be okay. And yeah, another thing like that angels can communicate with us too is dreams. Oh my God, I love having visits in my dreams. I absolutely love it. It doesn't actually happen very often for me. Maybe not as often as people would think. I think I'm more of like an inner knowing person. So like claircognizance, which is like something an inner knowing. I just feel like a gut feeling, and I know that it's a sign or a message. But I have had wonderful dreams, and actually, more so, some of my dreams have actually been from spirits, so like loved ones who have passed over. But I have had wonderful messages of dreams from angels. You know, I had a vision of, before I even got pregnant, I always had like a vision of like someone holding like a baby, and I just knew it was a boy, and they were like bringing it to me. And I was like, is that my baby? And they were like, yeah. Like, and I just remember like thinking back to that and thinking like, that was definitely an angel. That was my little boy, you know, in that realm waiting to come down to me. And then when I was pregnant, I remember my dreams got even stronger. And again, I was like, it's a boy. And we never found out what we were having. But I knew all along. I was like, it's a little boy. And, you know, it was something reassuring for me to know that he was with them. He came through that portal of life with them, and that they're with him now. And yeah, without getting too deep, I've had so many messages from angels, you know, dreams, songs too. Like, honestly, the signs are endless, guys. Like, you could walk into a shop and hear a song that maybe you were singing in your head 5 minutes ago. That is a sign. Like, maybe they want you to listen to the words of the song, or maybe they want you to think about what is happening for you in that day. What are you feeling, or what's about to happen? Pay attention, I would say. If you get a sign, pay attention to all the senses. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What's going on around you? And know that when you receive a sign, it is loving reassurance. Like, you know, sometimes people can be like, oh, what if it's a sign that something bad is going to happen? No, it's not a sign that something bad is going to happen. It's a sign that if something bad does happen, you're going to be all right. You're going to be okay. And that they're with you. And maybe that is a sign that, you know, okay, it's going to get tough for a while, but just letting you know that we're here, and this is your reassurance to know that it's okay to keep going. We're with you. You're going to get through this. It's going to be something that you look back on and think, wow, I got through that, and I'm stronger for it, and I'm more resilient. So yeah, the angels speak in synchronicities and symbols, and the more you notice them, the more they respond. And welcome them into your life, I would say as well. In terms of how to connect to your angels then, I suppose, you know, I mentioned asking for signs. I always tell people to ask for signs after maybe I've given them an angel card reading or a healing. I'll say, you know, ask for signs, ask for encouragement or reassurance on this if you are doubting it, and be open to interpret all signs. But I suppose if anyone is listening and is like, okay, I've gotten the signs and I want to connect with the angels. So how to connect to your angels? First thing I would say is anyone can connect to their angels. It doesn't have to be a healer. It doesn't have to be, you know, someone who has had a spiritual awakening. Like, we all have the same connection to the same angels. We are all capable of this. And so the first thing I would say is, you know, you can connect to them where you are right now by just calling them. But I would recommend for the first few times, if you're new to the angels or you're just kind of building your relationship with them, it would be nice to kind of allow yourself to go into a bit of a meditative state. So, you know, maybe sit down somewhere comfortable, taking some deep breaths, and just set the intention. Okay, I'm sitting here today and I want to connect with my guardian angel, or I want to connect with the archangels. Setting that intention alone is telling the universe what you're opening up to. And then by calling on the angels, so whether it's Archangel Michael or your guardian angel or Archangel Raphael or Shamuel, who I will again go into later on, calling their name out loud or in your head. And by the power of 3. So if you call their name 3 times, it is a universal law, you can rest assured that they will connect in with you. So calling their name 3 times and just sitting with it, noticing what you feel. You might feel dissociated, you might feel distracted. It's all information for you. There's resistance there, and that's okay. Maybe you've never done it before. Or maybe you sit there and you feel a sudden wave of peace, or you feel sleepy, or you feel love. Maybe you feel a bit sad because by calling them in, they're ready to help you remove or release something. So sit with it, sit in stillness and sit for a few moments, maybe put some nice angelic music on. I actually have a playlist, an angelic meditation playlist. I think it's public, I'll put it public. And maybe listen to some of those songs and just sit with it and notice what it feels like. And you can ask questions, get curious, say, if it's your guardian angel, well, what is your name? My guardian angel has a name. I remember in that book that I read by Lorna Byrne, she said to name your guardian angel. So I remember when I was a kid, I named my guardian angel Abigail. I don't know why. It just came to me and I just named her Abigail. So Abigail is my guardian angel. And get curious with it. Ask them their name. Ask them what they look like. And just say, I'll welcome you here. I'm welcoming you into my space. I'm acknowledging you and I want you to work with me. I want to work with you. And it's important to give them permission to come in and just sit with that. I would encourage you as well to journal afterwards, even if not a lot came up for you. Okay, we'll journal and not a lot came up for me today. And maybe next time, 1 thing will come up and the next time 2 things will come up. So journal, trust it, and invite them in is the big thing. Inviting them in is giving them permission. Trusting and knowing that they're coming through a loving vibration. They're coming through the light of the Holy Spirit. So you are protected when the angels connect in and you are welcoming high vibrational frequencies only. Remembering that the angels respect free will. So if you don't want the angels to connect with you or you don't call on your angels, you don't give them permission to be present in your life, then they won't. And that's a really big thing. So often people say, I don't feel the angels around, or I'm going through a lot right now and I'm finding it hard to connect to them. And I'm like, okay, well, did you give them permission? Like, did you actually actively say, I need your help. I need you to intervene. I'm having a really hard time in work. I can't deal with this anymore. Please help me. I'm asking you to help me now. Please intervene for the highest good of all. And they will. But you really got to sit with it, guys. You have to sit with it and be like, I need your help here. Please help me. And they will. Because sometimes going around and assuming that they're going to help you or leaving them to their own devices, they need your permission. They need your consent to come in. And so that's important for you to give them permission to come in. And when you do, give them permission for divine intervention to have influence over your life and your path. And knowing that they're only going to intervene for your highest good and highest good of all is honestly refreshing and comforting. And I have definitely given them permission in my life. And although, I have gone through things in my life, times in my life where I'm like, oh my God, is this really what I signed up for? But I know that everything that happens, it's aligning me to my highest path and the angels are with me. And so I suppose you're probably thinking, well, what angels will I call in? So I want to run through a list of some of the archangels. And I feel like, the man I have to start with is probably the celebrity of the archangels, and that is Mr. Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael, I can feel a pain in my right arm now. I forgot to mention actually, in terms of when you ask them to connect in with you, you can see colors, you can see visions, feelings in your body. When I call Michael, I feel a pain in my right arm. I just know that that's him. And it's not like a painful pain, it's just like a little twinge and then it goes. So I felt him there. But Archangel Michael is the celebrity of the angel realm, and his job is to work with humanity. He is the archangel of divine protection and empowerment, strength, courage, and he also helps us to remove fear. Michael's also great at cutting cords. So, every single person we meet in our life, we make an energetic cord with. And Michael can help us to cut cords that no longer serve us or no longer serve love. And he's brilliant at doing that. But Michael, I feel, is probably the first one everyone makes a connection with, because I think he's probably the easiest to connect with because he's very close to our frequency. Like, he's very much like human-like, if that makes sense, in my experience. It's different for everyone. And, you know, the first time I ever felt Michael, I kept seeing purple. I kept seeing deep purple. And, you know, people usually say that's like royal blue for Michael. So I was like, oh, maybe that's just my third eye or something. But now I know that my connection to Michael is purple. Like, I see deep purple when I feel Michael. And the angels will bring through, again, whatever colors that you need at that time for whatever healing that you need. So Michael for me is that deep purple, and he is that kind of, I'm here, I'm ready to work with you, I'm ready to go. And a nice thing maybe, or technique that you could have, is ask Michael, you know, to anyone else that wants to connect to you, your guardian angel or any other angels, that they come through the light of Michael. They come through with Michael. And he's a protector. So you can rest assured, you know, if you are calling on Archangel Michael to connect in with you in your morning and stay with you for the day, like, you know, he's going to protect you. And I would recommend as well, you know, just on the subject of protection, if you are delving into spirituality, spiritual awakening, energy work, all of that, it is very important to be protected, because as I discussed earlier, we can't have the good without the bad, and it is important to protect yourself energetically. So I would really recommend working with Archangel Michael, asking him to protect you, and visualizing, you know, maybe a bubble around yourself for that. And there are incredible workshops that you can do as well. I recommend Debbie, you know, to learn how to create protection techniques around yourself. So if anyone is kind of further along in their spiritual journey and you're thinking maybe you need something like that, I would definitely recommend that then, for sure. And I feel like I need to say that, so maybe someone listening needs to hear it. But you have Archangel Raphael then, and Archangel Raphael, he for me is green because he works so well with the heart chakra. He is the angel of healing. So for anyone who is maybe going through some physical pain, emotional pain, grief, heartache, trauma, you know, Archangel Raphael brings like this soothing balm of just love. It's beautiful. He's so healing, and I've actually felt him around me a good bit in the last while because I've needed some of my own healing. And he works so well with the heart chakra. And Raphael is beautiful. He's another one to call in if you feel like you are in need of like that soothing balm, that healing love. And then you have Archangel Chamuel. So Archangel Chamuel is the archangel of unconditional love. Again, works amazingly with the heart chakra. And I love to work with Chamuel in terms of self-love. So, you know, there's different techniques I can do with clients in terms of bringing Chamuel in. But I love to work with Chamuel myself for my own self-love. If I'm just feeling like I need a little bit more love for myself right now, I also ask Chamuel to bless my path with love and bless those around me with love as well. Archangel Jophiel, the archangel of joy, beauty, and uplifting your mindset. So Jophiel works very well with the solar plexus, which is our power center, our sense of self. And Jophiel, funnily enough, I've only really gotten to know her in the last while. I love how I talk about her. Like, I've only gotten to know her. I had a coffee with her last week. I've only gotten to know her really in the last while because I have learned technique with her. And she has come through strongly for me because, again, I needed her energy. These angels are going to come through to you when you need them. And I really needed her to work with me on my solar plexus. And she really brought me in like a really strong sense of joy. But also I feel she helps you really connect with your authenticity, like your authentic self. And yeah, beautiful, yellow, gorgeous energy. Again, Jophiel is beautiful energy to work with. You've got Archangel Metatron, who I always say I see as like Optimus Prime from Transformers. He's just like armor. Like, I just feel big, tall, strong armor when I think of Metatron. Metatron is kind of known as the messenger between humanity, Earth, and Source. So he's like the messenger angel that kind of goes between us and then up to like the really higher realms, like where Source is, and the Seraphim, which is a race or a band of angels. So he's kind of known as the messenger that goes between those. And so he's really good at helping you to connect to your higher consciousness, to receive information or guidance, spiritual awakening, you know, anything that you want to receive knowledge or impart into your consciousness about. He's really, really good to work with. And then you have Archangel Gabriel, the archangel of purity and harmony, works with the sacral, and it's very good for creativity actually as well, clarity. Works well with the moon and the element of water. So you think of that nurturing moon energy, but also that kind of passionate creativity in the sacral too. Gabriel's beautiful, and you know, it's no surprise that Gabriel works very well fertility and pregnancy. So anyone who's pregnant or hoping to get pregnant, Gabriel would be a really nice angel to keep close to you during this time. So that's just a run through of some of the angels. There are many, many more angels, many, many more archangels, but that's just kind of some of the ones that I can think of that are maybe most talked about online or most prominent. There is also, I feel like I have to say, Archangel Ariel too. She works very well with crystals. If anyone is like a crystal lover, Archangel Ariel will be great to connect with, because she will help you in your connection with your crystals, help you to purify them. But call them based on whatever it is you need in your life. What is going on for you right now? What kind of energy do you need them to bring in? And trusting that they will bring that in for you. Of course, if you wanted to, have a deeper connection with them, you could, of course, do an angelic energy healing with either myself. There are many angelic energy healers around and out there, and they can help you to really bring in that vibration, that frequency. But of course, there's different techniques that you have to do with these angels too. But as you listening now, you can welcome them into your life, into your energy field, and they will come in. And I suppose, in terms of welcoming them in and into your life and into your energy field, why are you welcoming them in? What are they going to do? Why are they here? And so I kind of talked about at the start of this episode, archangels and angels' purpose is to help humanity, to raise the consciousness of the earth. And, if anyone is aware, we're shifting into the new earth. It's more of a kind of a 5D vibration and frequency. And so anything that does not serve love is really getting purged. And I mean, all we have to do is take a look at the planet right now. We can just see how much fear and just bad is going on right now in the world. And it's really a time of purging, and it's really important for us to do what we can in terms of raising the vibration of the planet. And that can literally be showing yourself love. Like, literally, self-love is going to raise your vibration. You're going to bring that vibration out into the world, and you're going to filter it and ripple it into the planet. And maybe that's part of our role. That's what we can do in our part of the world. And so, working with the angels can really help you to do that. They can support you in raising your vibration, and again, in turn, raising the consciousness of the earth. They help light workers. So if you've heard of a light worker, they are usually someone who is like a healer, or someone, they don't have to be a healer though. Like, there's light workers that could work in food restaurants, they could work in hospitals, they could work in like as a civil servant. Light workers are everywhere. They are someone who is here to raise their sole purpose is to raise vibration of the planet. And they work with children, empaths, healers, and anyone that just wants to align with the vibration of truth and love. And so angels can really help you with that. And they hold divine templates of peace, compassion, and clarity. They are honestly incredible. I feel like this is an angel fan club over here. But if you're feeling drawn to work with angels, I just really would recommend you to. Again, calling on them and asking them for signs is a really nice way to do that, meditating with them. And if anyone's curious too, actually, I feel like I should mention, I do hold a free monthly meditation with angels, with different archangels. So if you did, if you're new to this, or maybe you're not new to it and you just fancy an angelic meditation, then just keep an eye on thecosmiccoach.ie on Instagram. And I do have monthly free meditations with the angels. But I think the important thing to know here is that you don't have to be psychic or a special person or a healer or even a light worker to connect with angels. They are there to connect with you all the time, anytime. And so you just need to start. You just need to ask them, you just need to call them in, and you just need to welcome them into your life, and they'll come in. Maybe you have a question for them, journal it down, close your eyes, take some deep breaths and ask the angels for guidance, and then write down whatever comes up for you. Maybe it's asking for a sign or noticing what you feel in your body as you are meditating. Maybe you're receiving, ask them to visit you in dreams, ask them to bring you guidance. And literally talk to them all the time. I talk to them all the time, even if it's like going to pick out a crystal for yourself. Okay, angels, which crystal do I need? Which one is speaking to me? And the more you trust it, the more you invite them in, and the stronger the connection comes. So, trusting that the angels are connecting with you. And often our ego will come in and be like, oh, that's not angels. That's just because I spent €11.11. That's why I'm getting 11.11 on my receipt. You got to trust it. You got to trust the signs too. Don't disregard them and take everything as a sign, because the more you do, the stronger they get, and then more undeniable signs come. Like, I remember one time, I can't remember what I was asking for a sign on, but I remember my sign was really weird. It was like I wanted a sign So you can do this, right? You can actually ask them like, okay, angels, I'd like you to connect with me now. I want a sign of, my sign was a purple bull. So a purple bull, which is very weird. You'd never see that. If this is meant to be, and, you know, I think it was something like, this is going to be resolved in the next 24 hours, or, you know, show me this sign, within the next 24 hours, if this is how it's meant to be. And so I set that intention, I went about my day, and I almost kind of forgot about it. And I was like, right, you have 24 hours. I swear to God, I think I went on to Snapchat at the time, and I looked at someone's story, and they had put up a picture of something, and there was literally like a bull head, and it was purple. And I was like, okay. And then, of course, ego came in and was like, I don't know, but that's just, you know, she was just posting that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, hang on a minute. If I'm going to ask for this sign, I have to trust and accept it and acknowledge it when it comes in. So making sure that you are acknowledging the signs when they come in is very important too. And on the note of acknowledging angels and that they're there and connecting with us, like, that's something that I'm still learning, you know. And as my gift gets stronger, my intuition, my spirituality, you know, I'm not going to say point blank I can see angels. I don't see angels. However, I feel them. And I remember I did a full moon circle a couple of weeks ago, and one of the ladies is talking, and she was like, yeah, you know, when you called the angels in, I just really felt someone stand behind me. And I'm looking at her and I'm like, yeah, there's literally like this huge blue divine being standing behind her, radiating. And I was like, oh my God, I feel like I can see that. And I had to acknowledge that, because I was like, if I don't acknowledge that, then, you know, not that they'll go away, but it's not going to develop anymore. So that was a big moment for me to be like, oh, wow. So just acknowledging and taking on board whatever is coming up for you. And that might be a bit woo-woo, but, you know, I own that. And I own it. Okay? I own it, you guys. And so I suppose to recap on the main message of this podcast, the angels are there. We all have a guardian angel. You can connect in with them whenever you want. They're there to help you, support you, and protect you. They will protect you. And your angels will walk with you every day. You are never alone. And I think that's a nice, reassuring thing to think, that you are never alone. Like, if we could put on a lens or a pair of goggles that would just let us see into the 5D for a few seconds, we would probably be blown away by how many angels are actually around us and working with us. And not only that, but we'll be blown away with how much they love us. Like, these angels look at us and they think, wow, like, they think we're amazing. They think that we're brave because we chose to come to planet Earth. We chose to have a human experience. They think that's brave. And they're like, we're here to help you because we ain't doing that, but you're doing it. And it's pretty brave, because on this planet Earth, you know, we have the good, the bad, and the ugly. So they love you and they're here to work with you. And they honestly love you unconditionally. And you're never alone. And you may feel the presence of your angels around you today. So, you know, if you do, acknowledge it, welcome them in. And maybe you want to come to, you know, a meditation circle, or with me, or maybe with someone else to kind of help you on this journey. So thank you for listening to this, and ask your angels today for a sign. Ask them that they're there and they're around you, and they will let you know. It's also 4 minutes as I'm finished recording. Design. So for our next segment of the podcast, we have Cosmic Confessions. So this is the segment where listeners get involved. You can message me or email me with your dilemmas, your scenarios, your questions, something that you've got going on. Maybe you just want my 2 cents on it. You just want my take, or maybe some resonance. So I actually received an email from someone, and of course it is anonymous, but I'm going to read it out now. So it says, hi Siobhan, so excited that you're doing this segment. I've been needing to get this off my chest, and I don't really have anyone in my life that I can talk to about it at this moment. Lately, I've been kind of feeling disconnected from myself, and I've done a lot of inner work over the past year, but now I'm in kind of this in-between phase where I'm not sure who I used to be, and I'm not fully who I want to become either. It's like I'm floating in this cosmic void. I love the reference. And I don't know how to trust everything that is unfolding the way it's meant to. Sometimes I wonder if I'm just fooling myself, like maybe healing isn't even real, or am I just pretending I'm more evolved than I really am? So I suppose my question is, how do you know if you're actually growing, or just spiritually bypassing everything and calling it alignment? Wow, that was a really good question. I can relate to this, and first of all, I just want to say thank you for sharing that. You are not alone, and I feel like that is definitely something that we all go through in terms of our spiritual journey. This is actually a really sacred part of your transformation that you are in, whether it feels like it or not. Being in that phase of like you're not who you used to be, like just taking a moment to sit with that. Like you are not who you used to be. You have grown, you have evolved, you have learned so much, and you're trying to be a better person. Like at the end of the day, we're all just trying to be a better person, and you are doing that, and you are that because you don't resonate with the person you once were. But it's also hard because you're like, I don't feel like I'm the person that I want to be. And it kind of reminds me of that saying, like healing is not linear. It's up and down. And also it's not a destination either. Like it's not somewhere that you necessarily need to arrive at. It's just something that we have to keep ticking over at. It's very normal when you go through a phase of healing and learning, and you're in that integration phase and you've done the deep healing work. We often have this like identity crisis or identity detox because like I don't know who I am anymore. Like I don't know what it is that I want to be. And like even speaking for myself, like I look back on a few years ago and like what I did with my free time I do not do anymore. The people I hung around with I don't talk to anymore. The things that I was interested in I'm not interested in anymore. And that's it. That's a hard pill to swallow because it's like, hang on a minute, I'm none of these things anymore. Who the hell am I? And so it's important for you to know that this is an important phase that you're in. And just like I said, sitting with that and acknowledging that you have come so far. And yes, it feels confusing because your system is still calibrating this new frequency of who you are. You have let go of what no longer serves you and your highest good. And you have now welcomed in a new vibration and frequency, and it's unfamiliar. It's okay to not fully feel like you're there yet, or that you're not really like embodying new patterns or parts of you, and because that all takes time. Remembering that during that time that it takes, it's not about reaching the destination. It's about just embracing it and acknowledging it and welcoming it and being grateful that you're at that place too. And well done. Like honestly, it takes a lot. If you think about planting a seed underground and having to water it and water it and water it, and then it slowly starts to grow, but then it's grown and you're looking at it and you're like, well, I'm not really sure what flower it's going to be yet, but it's sprouted. It's definitely not a seed anymore, but it's definitely not a flower yet. So having patience, and please continue to water your flower. Please continue. Oh my God, that sounds like an innuendo. Please continue to water that flower. And please continue to water yourself, because you are growing and blooming. And although it feels unfamiliar for you, my love, you are definitely growing. And there's definitely this added pressure to feel like, in terms of you asking, are you aligned or just spiritually bypassing? You are definitely aligned if it feels right, if it feels good to you. And there's sometimes this like pressure or like kind of like toxic positivity of being like, I have to be 100% my healed self and aligned at all times. And that is just not it. And I think the big thing with healing and with this whole journey is that when you go on this journey, you're going to revisit emotions. You're going to feel angry again. You're going to be triggered. You're going to be pissed off. You're going to be upset. You're going to be, you're going to have bad days. But it's about being a different person to deal with that. It's about responding to that rather than reacting to it how old versions of you would have reacted to it. It's about, not taking part in the gossip, not taking part in the, negativity, not taking part in the reacting, the arguing, whatever it is, because you're in a different place now. You have a different awareness, and with that new vibration, you're able to respond to things differently. You're able to build a bigger resilience to it. So no, it doesn't always have to feel aligned. It just is something that's always with you. And even through the hard days and the dark days, you can still tap into that new version of you that you are becoming, remembering that you are becoming. Real growth looks like facing doubt and still showing up for yourself. It's not bypassing. You're building resilience. You're building strength so that when the bad days do come, you're capable. So to that person who wrote in, I would say, in order to help yourself stay grounded, the important thing for you would be to look back at how far you've come. Ask yourself, how far have I come? How much have I changed, and how proud am I of myself? And maybe journal that and sit with it. And if you are in those moments of like, oh, what is this all for? I just feel like I'm in limbo right now. Connecting in with yourself, putting your hands on your tummy, connecting with your inner child, or even just your gut, and asking yourself, what do I need today? What do I need in this moment? And trust. Affirmations, guys, I'm an affirmation girly. Affirming to yourself, I trust my path. I trust the path that I'm on. And connecting with your angels. As this episode says, call in your angels, ask them for signs, and know that even when you feel lost or unsure of where you're at right now, they're with you and they're going to give you the signs and the reassurance that you need as well. So ask them for signs too. And thank you so much for writing in. I think that was, a really, really good first cosmic confession. I think it's something that a lot of us can relate to as well. And if you can relate to that, maybe it's nice for you to hear that you're not alone and that someone else feels like that too. Because being in the void doesn't mean that you're stuck, guys. It means that you have been brave enough to let go of what no longer fits and that you trust yourself and you know what you're doing, even when your mind is uncertain. Moving on to our next segment, which is affirmation of the week. You guys know, if anyone follows me online, I love affirmations. Affirmations are such a beautiful way of tapping into our subconscious and rewiring our brains. Telling yourself an affirmation over and over and over will not only get into your subconscious, but it can actually really help with tapping into your nervous system, helping with anxiety, helping to take you out of fight or flight. It can also help you with feelings of self-worth and self-love, raising your vibration, what you're putting out into the world, and also just how you speak to yourself. How are you speaking to yourself? We only have one life and we're the only thinker in our minds. So it's important that we are thinking nice thoughts to ourselves. And so for our first affirmation of the week, we have, this one has jumped out. Okay. I couldn't write this, you guys. The first affirmation that has jumped out is, I acknowledge how far I have come. Ironically, I feel like that is very connected to the cosmic confession that we received. I acknowledge how far I have come. Take a moment. Take this affirmation into your week with you, but you listening now, I want you to take a moment to acknowledge how far you have come. Think of everything that you have gotten through. You have survived everything that you've ever gone through, all of your worst days. What have you achieved? What would younger you be proud of today? What could you tell younger version of you right now that they would be like, oh my God, that is so cool. I can drive, I have a car, whatever it is. And acknowledge how far you've come. And affirm to yourself, I acknowledge how far I have come. Thank you for tuning into Cosmic Conversations. If you enjoyed this episode, then please let me know. Maybe consider leaving a 5-star review or a comment on what you thought. I'd love to hear suggestions and feedback on any topics you'd like me to explore or unpack, or maybe a guest that you'd like me to have on so I can pick their brain. If you have a cosmic confession or a dilemma that you'd like me to explore next week, then please send it my way on Instagram at Cosmic Conversations Pod or email thecosmiccoach.ie@gmail.com. Thank you and see you next week.